Hello, everyone. Coming up here on the Evolution review here on the Pro Wrestling Show. You see right here, Rhea Ripley and IYO SKY had their best women's world championship matches of today, but it got turned upside down as Naomi shocks the world by winning the women's world championship coming up. We'll talk about it here on the Evolution Ring Report here, right now. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Pro Wrestling Show. Present the Evolution Review. I'm your host, as always, Kendrick Dix here. Glad you can join us here on the Evolution Review. Join in the conversation using the hashtag Pro Wrestling Show here on Connect TV. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe and share. Tell a friend, call a friend, hit that subscribe button so you won't miss a thing. We'll get to Naomi winning the Women's World Championship in a minute, but she shocked the world. We'll get to her in a minute, but let's not waste no time whatsoever. We're going to kick things off with this. The tag team match. Well, not tag team match. It was the triple threat match for the Women's Intercontinental Champion. We'll get to the tag team match coming up a little bit in the show, later in the show. But we're going to get things to this right here. The Women's Intercontinental Championship was on the line. The Women's Intercontinental Championship is on the line, as you can see right here. Becky Lynch, the champion, defends her championship against former champion Liv Victoria, the first champion that Becky had to get the belt off of, as well as Bayley. These three women can't stand each other. These three women can't want to beat each other apart. We've been telling you for weeks that on Raw and stuff that they want to get their hands on each other, and they did so tonight, as you can see right here from the other night and stuff like that. Well, we did not hold back to anticipation and stuff like that. Bailey, Becky Lynch, Becky Lynch came out there. Bailey coming out there with her entrance gear, as well as Lyra came out there as well. Lyra Victoria wants to prove her worth for her self worth as well, as you see right here. Becky Lynch, the champion, came out cool, calm, and collective as she did tonight, trying to make a point, trying to prove a point. Becky Lynch trying to show that she is all that in a bag of chips. Um, Becky Lynch doing so tonight. Becky Lynch with the escape, pinning Bailey to get the 1, 2, 3 with a backslide. Becky Lynch right here getting the upset victory, pinning Bailey to retain her Women's Intercontinental Championship by the skin of her teeth tonight. Becky Lynch still holds the gold, and Becky Lynch retains her Women's Intercontinental Championship the way she did tonight from Becky Lynch. I'd say that about Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch knows how to um, keep everything in bases. I can say that right now. Becky Lynch, the skin of her teeth, hold on to the Women's World Championship. Becky Lynch is no, they're not finished with each other. Yeah, I can tell you that by a long shot. Becky Lynch and Live Valkyria and Bailey. We'll probably see them take this one step on the level down the road. We'll see that probably, perhaps, coming up. So look forward to seeing that come your way soon as we can. A lot of luminaries and stuff were in attendance. Stephanie McMahon hosted the Women's Evolution with Joe Tessitore. Stephanie McMahon was in attendance all night as the host of Evolution, as well as people were in attendance, legends and Hall of Famers, including Hall of Famer Mark Henry, world's strongest man. Mark Henry was in attendance in Atlanta as well as Vicky Guerrero was in attendance as well. Vicky Guerrero screaming and shouting as always. Melina was in the house as well. Former three-time women's champion Melina, who met those splits when she did in the ring. Melina was out there as well as former women Divas champion Maurice. Maurice was out there throwing her style along with her daughter. Tori by God Wilson was at ringside as well. Tori Wilson, WWE Hall of Famer Tori Wilson was in attendance. A lot of people were in attendance. Jazz was in attendance. Molly Holly, a host of people were in attendance. So We saw how that went down. Um, yeah, Molly Holly was in attendance as well, so we saw that. Well, we get to this right here. The women's tag team championships were on the line, as you see right here. You see the Judgment Day, Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez defending their tag team goal against the Babuki Warriors, Oscar and Kyrie Singh. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, newfound tag team, and NXT's Zora Roca and Zaria want to compete. We told you if you watched our companion piece on the predicted outcome special for Evolution, who I thought was going to win, and it wasn't a no-brainer that the Judgment Day won the match. The Judgment Day, Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne won and retained. Like I said, you got to have heel tag teams, and they did tonight. The heel tag teams won, and it gives them something to fight about and fight for. So it gives them something more, a piece of the pie. But the Judgment Day retained the women's tag team championships, and they did so tonight. You see right here, Raquel and Roxanne retained their women's. Right, look like Roxanne just fit right in, replacing Liv. We'll see. Is Raquel gonna grow on Liv, or Liv gonna grow on Raquel? We'll see, and we'll see how that's gonna be moving forward. But you can tell right here, they're meshing as a team, and we'll see if how they'll mesh together down the road. So Raquel and Roxanne R&R retain their women's tag team championship. It gives them something now be credible against a couple opponents from all three brands down the road. So you never know how that's going to be. Well, we get to this right here. The NXT women's title was on the line. As JC Jane defending her championship against Jordan Grace. Was Jordan Grace going to pull a quick one and defeat JC Jane and make her a transitional champion? Well, as you said on the predicted outcome special, I didn't think so. I thought, like I had normally thought that what she was going to do, and what she did tonight, uh, how she did it and stuff like that. But JC Jane retained her women's championship quick as ease. I couldn't believe it. JC Jane did so tonight. I mean, it was no brainer. We told you that that not Rock, but Jordan Grace and Blake Monroe, they was having that spa day, and I think Blake Monroe kicked Jordan Grace off her edge a little bit, not focus on being women's champion. Even last night at the Great American Bash, they teamed up and they gelled well together. I think it was like really short lived, but we told you this that Blake Monroe really put the brakes, and Blake Monroe did the unthinkable. We thought Blake Monroe was gonna be on the side of Jordan Grace, but apparently she's not. She hit Jordan Grace in behind the back, behind of Jordan with the belt, and Jordan and JC Jane retained her women's championship. Blake Monroe really screwing the brutes out of Jordan Grace. Jordan Grace did not like that one bit. Jordan Grace just we can see right here what Jordan Grace had sent right here, this text, this tweet right here, that Jordan Grace is going to get her revenge one way or another. And Jordan Grace wants that revenge on what JC Jane did. And this is what Jordan Grace said. She said right here, you are so, you know what, you fill in the blanks right there. This is what she said. I think she's gonna look to get her receipt on Blake Monroe after what Blake Monroe did to her tonight, costing her a chance to become NXT Women's Champion. And she did so tonight by doing what she did, screwing her out of becoming NXT Women's Champion. Well, we move on to another one that was anticipated. The WWE Women's Championship was on the line as the legendary Trish Stratus challenged Tiffany Stratton, an era versus era match. Trish from the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era, taking on Tiffany from the modern day era right now. You know that Tiffany Stratton chose Trish Stratus to be her opponent, and Tiffany Stratton picked a no better brainer choice to do so. Well, Tiffany Stratton gave her all, just as Trish Stratus gave her all. Trish Stratus lost to Tiffany Stratton as predicted. Uh, Trish Stratus Got a thank you, Trish, from the whole crowd. So Trish Stratus um, really put in the boots tonight. Wrestled the way she wanted to wrestle and her pace, and she did so tonight. Doing what she needed to do. Trish Stratus losing to Tiffany Stratton, but Trish Stratus gained respect from the crowd. Thank you, Trish. Trish Stratus at her age, at almost at 50 years old, close to 50. She's turned 50 in December. You never would thought Trish Stratus looks like that at 50 years old, but she did. Trish Stratus right now in the, you know, they would say past her prime, but Trish Stratus still going with the flow, and she's still moving around as she normally would. Trish Stratus showing the effect that at 50 years old, you still can go, you can still do things where people don't have to judge you and don't judge your age. So Trish Stratus learned the effect, but with Trish Stratus, still your WWE Women's Champion. She did so tonight by retaining the Women's Championship. So congratulations to Trish Stratus and Tiffany Stratton. Well, we get to this one right here. Personal favorite of mine that I was looking forward to seeing right here. No holds barred between Jay Cargill and Naomi. These two fierce rivals went at each other. This is a WrestleMania rematch between these two, and Jay Cargill got the upper hand over Naomi. But this time there was an added ingredient to this match, none other than Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair was named a special guest referee from Saturday night's main event yesterday, and Bianca Belair was going to call right down the middle and be fair and firm. Well, throughout the whole entire match, we thought Jay was going to do what she needed to do. Jay was going to proceed without caution. Jay kind of did proceed without caution, as we saw, but just wasn't enough. Tables, everything. Jay went to a table, but she managed to regroup. Bianca Belair raised the hand of her former best friend Jade. Will this lead to a rivalry down the road? We don't know who's going to turn heel, who's going to turn babyface, but I looking forward to seeing it between these two go toe to toe. So we'll look forward to seeing Jay versus Bianca one on one. We'll see if that's going to happen. But Jay raising the hand, Bianca, that's in the feud between her and Naomi, as we had thought coming up. But we'll tell you a little bit later on what went down with Naomi. The night wasn't over with. We thought it was over with for Naomi, but it just wasn't. Tell you that coming up. Well, we get to this right here, the battle royal right here, the battle royal right here to determine who is the Evolution 2025 Battle Royal winner receives a championship match at Clash at Paris. Who was going to go to Clash in Paris to receive a women's championship match? I told you the odds on favorite. Everyone was telling me, telling you, and telling me the world was telling me who was going to be the odds on favorite to win that Battle Royal. And that Battle Royal was none other than Stephanie Vicure. Stephanie Vicure went to hopes and ends to go in that battle royal to win it. But Stephanie had a long shot. We told you that Nikki Bella was going to enter the battle royal. Nikki Bella was one of the final four women, along with Chelsea Green and Lash Legend as well. But that battle royal was star studded. If we can show that battle royal highlights of that battle royal right here. This was the highlights right here of the battle royal, and you can tell right here. Last Legend was Stephanie McKinnon. Last Legend was the final two. Last Legend eliminated um, Nikki Bella. Nia Jax was in it, but none other than Stephanie Vicure. Stephanie Vicure won the women's battle royal. Stephanie Vicure now earns herself a championship match against whoever, what champion she chooses at Clash of Paris. I don't know if it's for your brand's champion or a different champion, but we know Stephanie Vicure is now the Lord contender at Classic Paris for the women's world for the women's championship. We don't know if it's going to be Tiffany Stratton or perhaps whoever won the women's world championship with Naomi or whoever right now. We see Stephanie Vicure um, win, and it was kind of weird. Stephanie Vicure and Stephanie McMahon. Stephanie McMahon interviewed Stephanie Vicare about the moment. As you see right here, it was like the two Stephanies interviewing amongst with each other. McMahon and Vicare. Uh, McMahon interviewing Vicare about her victory. Stephanie Vicare saying in Spanish that she's here to prove herself. Wrestling is her love language, and she's going to do so by doing what she got to do to win the Battle Royal coming up. So Stephanie Vicare wins the Women's Battle Royal for 2025 in Evolution and earns herself a future championship match at Clash at Paris. Well, we get to the main event. The main event was for the WWE Women's World Championship, as you see right here. Uh, See if you can right here. Um, IYO SKY set to defend against Rhea Ripley. You know, IYO SKY and Rhea Ripley. These two women want to personal pride and personal everything on the line and stuff. Rhea Ripley and IYO SKY did so tonight. Rhea Ripley setting the tone, setting the trend. What she did tonight. You can tell right here, Rhea Ripley and IYO SKY in the main event Evolution. IYO SKY and Rhea Ripley doing battle for the coveted prize on Raw. Who is going to be the top woman on Raw covering the women's championship on the brand? IYO SKY taking it to the limit throughout the whole entire match. IYO SKY um, doing what she needed to do. You see right here, IYO SKY going high flying aerial attacks right there and doing so tonight by EO. Also, too, you can tell right here. Um, you can see right here, Naomi out of nowhere, coming out of nowhere. And I didn't expect Naomi to do what she did. And I thought she was focusing on Tiffany Stratton, but Naomi doing the world by finishing pinning the scraps of EO and pinning EO and leaving Rhea Ripley out, sending her to the ring post. Naomi wins the Women's World Championship, shocking the world as the new Women's World Champion. Naomi right here. You can take a grand look. This is her third reign as the Women's World Champion. Naomi won that same title. The title was used to be called the SmackDown Women's title. Now it's the Women's World Championship. And now Naomi is now the Women's World Champion again. Shocking the world right here, Naomi, putting Rhea Ripley and IYO SKY in a tizzy. And she did so tonight by doing what she did tonight in that tizzy. Never would have thought Naomi shocking the world, doing what she did tonight. And Naomi now, the new Women's World Champion, by means doing what she did tonight was crazy. But it was crazy work tonight by Naomi doing what she did. It was a good show. I mean, you shocked the world. You start with a banger with Becky Lynch, and then you end it with a shocker with Naomi. And Naomi did that tonight, and Naomi did that as well. She did. We're gonna see what this gonna lead on Raw. We have to wait and see about that. Well, that's gonna do it here for the Pro Wrestling Show presents the Evolution Review. Review Evolution throughout top to bottom. Was a good evolution. You don't know. There'll never be another one. We don't know, but you never know. But it kind of did tonight. Naomi shocked the world and wins the Women's World Championship and shocks Rhea Ripley and IYO SKY out of nowhere. Thank you all for watching this edition. It's been a long, busy weekend for you, but we thank you for watching. I've been your host, Kendrick Dix, saying so long. We'll see you tomorrow for the Raw Ring Report, as well as other ring reports this week. See you later.